Good evening and welcome to a brand new season of F2 in the Formula Racing League on F1 2021. Tom Canton, the Country Box, giving you the details for tonight's show. We've got a one-shot qualifying followed by a feature race and then a sprint that follows that. Just waiting for the teams to make their way onto the track. Well, I say onto the track. We'll begin the one-shot qualifying, of which all the drivers will do their lap times all at the same time. So we're going to be seeing that. And so give you a few drivers to look out for. We've got Dixon, we've got Rosie, we've got Orange and Gamma as well. And then the session begins, as you can see unknown Elder in your picture, but we're going to go to Dixon, finished highest of the current drivers last season. Through turns 5 and 6, without any issue. He's in Valdez's start time, so he will start the race from the back of the grid. Let's go to Statistic King because he's in the Campos. So Statistic King coming into the last couple of corners, and he should complete his start time so that Jackson is going to start from pole position ahead of Orange and Gamma. You see the times are flooding in now, and Statistic King will start 12th on the grid. So Jackson and Orange and Gamma line up on the front row next to each other. The first points of the season going to Jackson. Leppy and Unknown Elder line up on row 2. Argent and Rosie are next up on row 3. Then it's Pimis and Swanshanks on the 4th row. Poch and Scott round out the top 10 ahead of Tomo, Wild Dog, Statistic King and Slow Coach. Then we've got Vintage, Dixon and Terade making up the grid. So just a rundown on the point score this season in terms of the format. The top 15 score points, providing they finish, of course, in both the feature and the sprints. 40 points for the race winner, 32 for second, 26 for third in the feature and in the sprint. It's 30 points for a race win, 24 for second, 19 for third. Pole position points are worth 4, and fast lap points for each race is 2. And see we're about 10 seconds away from the start of the formation up. This is the feature race, 18 laps ahead of us. It's a 16-lap feature race, I should say, not 18. My apologies. And all the drivers starting on the mediums. So Jackson leads the field on the formation up. You can see there in the number 3 UNI Virtuosi. Then we've got the HWA of Orange and Gamma next behind. Then we've got Leppy ahead of Unknown Elder. So just look to see who's in the drivers in the lineups. In Dams, we've got Vintage. At UNI Virtuosi, we've got Rosie and Jackson. ART have got Dixon and Lucky Boff, although Lucky Boff isn't around tonight. Wild Dog and Podge are at Carlin, then Swanshanks and Leppy at Charouz. Orange and Gamma is in the HWA, and joining in tonight will be Tomo. And at Pramer, we've got Sarli, who is not around this evening, it seems. At Campos, Statistic King is the only driver involved in that car. And at MP Motorsport, well, Rune and Islets Beget were meant to be in that, but they're not around this evening, so Terade is in the car, in one of those cars. There's Scott in one of the Pramers, the only Pramer driver involved tonight. So Jackson. So Jackson coming around to the grid. Orange and Gamma next behind, and then it's Leppy and Unknown Elder. There's Rosie in the UNI Virtuosi. So 17 cars line up on the grid for the first race, Season 5 of F2 in the Formula Racing League. There's Therese taking up the last spots on the grid, and we are ready to go. So here we go then, the 5 red lights come on. When they extinguish, we'll be racing in F2. It's lights out and away we go. So the high-tech of Unknown Elder got a great start from 4th place. He's going to go side by side with the HWA of Orange and Gamma. Jackson looks though he's got the start he needed to stay in the lead. And Unknown Elder goes side by side with the HWA, and Unknown Elder gets up into 2nd place. So the HWA drops back. He's in 3rd place ahead of the Charouz of Leppy and the other UNI Virtuosi of Rosie next up. Pimis is in 6th place ahead of Scott, Tomo and Swanshanks as a spinner at the back. I think one of the H-sides has gone around. It's Don Argent. There's the Prime of Scott going off the track. He gets a penalty for corner cutting. He rejoins the track at the back of the field anyway. So Jackson leads with Unknown Elder in 2nd place. It's Orange and Gamma ahead of Rosie. Leppy dropping down to 5th place after turn 7. So Wild Dog gets a penalty as well for corner cutting, so he'll be dropping even further back. Now, in terms of the pit strategy, the pit window doesn't open until lap 3, which is the point where you can make your mandatory pit stop. You have to use both dry compounds during an F2 feature race. Failure to do that will result in a disqualification. Here's Orange and Gamma, who's in 3rd place behind Unknown Elder. To come down towards turn 14, the penultimate turn, and then through the kink. Oh, and now Orange and Gamma got the power down too much coming out of there, and he's already dropped back as Dixon's made up good ground actually from the back. He's already up to 8th place and onto the rear of Pimis ahead of him. It says we're on lap 3, but we are in fact on lap 2. The leaderboard is currently glitching as we speak, so Dixon thinking about a move on the dams and has to stay behind. Tomo has made up good ground actually from his starting spot, 11th on the grid, and is already up to 5th place. So it's UNI Virtuosi ahead of High Tech. Then it's Orange and Gamma in the HWA in 3rd, Rosie 4th in the UNI Virtuosi. You see the leaderboard is just glitching at the moment. Don't worry too much about that. That normally updates itself when all the drivers have gone past Sector 1. And so it has updated itself. The only thing that's not updated is the lap counter. That's currently wrong. We are in fact on lap 2, not lap 3. So Jackson out in front, and we can just see the Chiro's going wide there. That's Leppy and the Dams of Pimis, and they're losing time there by going off track, as is the Carlin of what looks like Wild Dog, who clearly needed more road than what's already there. Jackson's lead 1 second over Unknown Elder. Dixon, who finished runner-up last season, gets past Leppy, who goes off track. Leppy needs to keep the car on the track, not off it. And you can see Podge going offline there. Wonder will pick up a warning for that. Pimis going to the inside of Leppy into turn 14, and Pimis gets through, and now Swanshank's looking to have a go on his teammate. Podge also looking to make up ground. Leppy on the rear of Pimis as they go into turn 1. Swanshanks concedes the position to Podge. You see Therese dive into the inside of Statistic King. So no way through there. So Jackson in the lead. DRS has been enabled. More importantly, the pit window has opened. I can't quite remember if the mediums are the softest common. Someone's gone for a spin. That'll be Scott, I believe it is. He's gone off at turn 7 and he's rejoined. And someone keeps going wide there. That's the HWA of Tomo. He keeps going wide. He needs to keep the car on the track, otherwise he'll end up getting a time penalty for track limits. Dixon dive into the inside and he goes up into 5th position. Right on board with Podge, who just got past Leppy to go up into 8th. Swanshank's going through on the inside of his teammate. Leppy needs to keep the car on the track. Arjun dive into the inside of the Campos, and he gets through. Jackson with a new fastest at 1 minute 41.6. Tomo with DRS is looking to try and get back in front of Dixon before they get to turn 1. Wheel to wheel there, a bit of wheel banging actually. Tomo diving to the inside, he gets the penalty for track limits as well. I'll go to his time at the end of the race. Podge stopped behind Swanshanks. The field is beginning to spread out now. You can see Vintage and the Dams in 14th place. And of course, at the end of this race, the top 8 do get reserved. So you can see Jackson going wide at turn 10. Now, he's got to be careful not to be exceeding track limits like that. I'm sure he's exceeded it there. I know he was trying to avoid the curb, but then that's a sign of drivers needing to slow down when they're going through turns like that. Tomo diving back on the inside of Dixon through turn 11. Dixon up to 5th, and no problem for him. Jackson entering the last couple of corners, and he'll complete lap 4, still in the lead, and with a new fastest up of the race. You can see the first pit stop of the race. Tomo fails to get the car slowed down in time, and that is a time penalty for him. It's a 60 km/h pit lane speed limit for these F2 cars. Statistic King also making the switch to go onto the hard tyre. So 2 drivers coming in at the end of lap 4. So Jackson, 1.5 seconds clear of Unknown Elder, who's in second, with Orange Gamma next behind in third position. Rosie making it 2 virtuoses in the top 4. Dixon's 5th, closing down on her. No one opted for the alternate strategy for this race, to be fair. Someone did ready up super early, couldn't recognise who it was though. But this is something that leagues do take very seriously. As anyone readying up before instructing to do so can get a hefty punishment for it. As Swanshanks goes for a spin at turn 12, or just before turn 13, and that'll be him falling down the order. And Unknown Elder pits in. So Unknown Elder is the first of the leaders to come in for a pit stop. Orange Gamma coming in as well. Orange Gamma exits the pits. And someone's gone off in sector 3. Tomo has retired on circuit. Now, that is against the rules. And we'll just watch statisticking and see how Tomo has retired, because I think he's parked the car on the circuit. Yeah, I think he's retired on circuit, to be honest with you. If he has, that is against the rules. So I think there'll be a punishment coming Tomo's way post-race. So we have our first safety car of this. Jackson in the lead with Pimis second. Arjun third. Now this could play into their hands actually, because they've not pitted yet. This is going to play massively into Jackson's hands, because he will cut off that threat from Unknown Elder, Orange and Gamma and Rosie behind, who of which he is battling with for the race victory. And Dixon saying hi. Hi Dixon, how are you, my mum?